All right, welcome everybody. We have several people joining, so I'm going to give people just a minute to kind of get connected and get settled. This is the Gies iDegree programs webinar. We're going to be talking about the portfolio of online programs through Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So we still have people actively joining. So we're going to give people just a minute, but while we're waiting, go ahead and I'm going to launch a poll actually to just kind of see where people are joining us from. So we're hoping that by adding this Saturday session, we're catching a few more time zones. So let us know where you're at least what general region you're joining us from. I'm here in Champaign. We're going to do some introductions here in just a moment. We have a great guest with us today. We've got a few from the US, Middle East. Anybody else? As everyone's joining, go ahead and tell us where you're from in that poll, and welcome. We're just giving that number a minute to stabilize, and then we'll get started here. Wonderful. And we'll be here for about an hour, and I'll try to leave some time toward the end for questions, and we'll have a Q&A available as well as we go through the presentation. If anything comes up, we'll do our best to answer your questions as we go along here. Wonderful. So we have one from Africa, it looks like. Awesome. So we've got a good variety of locations that you're joining us from today. So that's fantastic. Great. Well, we will go ahead and get started. I've got about a minute after. So thank you everybody for joining. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the online portfolio at Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign today. My name is Amy Simpson. I'm a coordinator here at Gies Online Programs. And I'm joined by a couple of great guests. We've got my colleague, Kate Gearing, who is going to be helping with your questions throughout the presentation. I would ask that if you do have questions, please throw those in the Q&A. So you'll find those at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There's a little icon for Q&A in particular. And that just helps us to keep track of your questions and make sure that everyone's benefiting from the answers as we hopefully get through as many of those as we can. And we'll, I like to say, save the chat for chat and questions go in the Q&A. Awesome. And then we have a current student ambassador, Padma, joining us. So she's going to be a great resource for your questions as well. So Padma, do you want to introduce yourself and just kind of tell us a little bit about, yourself and your experience so far in your program?
Thank you, Amy. Welcome everyone. This is Padma Archana. I'm a current student. I am in iMSM program. I joined in the spring last 2020, and I'll be graduating iMSM this spring 2023. It took almost a year for me to finish my program. I have a background in entrepreneurship, and I have been a very active volunteer in the leadership roles here in US. I joined iMSM mainly because this program was I felt this was correctly designed for me to enhance my skills towards management that I have learned through experience. The main takeaway from this program that really the main reason that attracted me towards this program was the way the program is designed. It's all online, and next was the price point, which was really economical for us to which was really economical. And let's see how it goes.
Great. Thank you so much, Padma, for being here. We'll have some more questions for you as we go along, I'm sure. So yes, absolutely. Like I said, Padma is here. She is currently going through the program, one of our programs. So if you have specific questions about, her experience or courses, things like that, or the general course outline, I should say, throw those in the Q&A, and we'll get to those a little bit later. You should see on your screen right now a QR code. So go ahead and scan that with your phone if you'd like. I'm going to throw this up later on toward the end of the webinar as well. That's a good way to get in touch with our team. If you do have additional questions after this event, that's how you get to our website, get in contact with us. So you can kind of keep track of the information that you're getting today. All right, so just a brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today. The stackable design at Gies, just kind of an overview of the online credentials that we offer. We're going to get into a little bit of what each program consists of, the networking and support that you'll get through Gies College of Business, and then of course Q&A at the end, like I mentioned. Okay, so Gies does offer a stackable sort of format with all of our programs, and you can kind of stack smaller credentials into larger credentials, or use those smaller credentials to sort of fill knowledge gaps depending on where you are in your learning journey. So one of the themes that we're going to talk about is flexibility. So you're going to see this flexibility sort of throughout the programs and throughout this sort of stackability model. So, and the third one I mentioned, flexibility, stackability, online by design is sort of the third kind of pillar that you'll see in our online programs. One thing to keep in mind is that these programs were not just taken from residential programs and thrown up on the internet. These were designed from the beginning to be online. So there's a very purposeful sort of design process behind them. And the teams that were designing the courses and the curriculum and the methods of delivery in these programs sort of, thought about that from the beginning. So they're thinking about, how to deliver quality degree programs and these certificate programs in an online format from the beginning. So it wasn't an afterthought. It was very purposeful. It was online by design. And that's one of the things that really sets Gies Business programs apart in that way, because there is kind of that forethought involved when designing the programs. In terms of the stackable build, we're not going to go into a ton of detail about stacking. I would recommend, we do have a full webinar just on stacking that's really great. I believe Kate was the presenter for that. And she goes into a lot of detail about how this actually works, and you can find that on our YouTube playlist. So I would recommend, checking that out if you're interested in learning more about stacking. We also have information on our website. But just to give you sort of a visual about how this works, you can start all the way with MOOCs, which are massive open online courses, and those would be through Coursera, which is a partner that we use to deliver our courses. And I'll get into how that works a little bit later. You can start there and sort of, build into 4-credit courses, graduate certificates, all the way up to a full master's degree. And like I said, those building blocks don't necessarily have to go in that order. If you, let's say you already have your MBA, and you see a course or a certificate that you want to learn more about, you can, explore that. And if it's something, that you have a knowledge gap, you can go back and sort of continue your education with one of those shorter credentials. So there is a lot of flexibility there, and that's kind of a unique option that Gies offers. Thank you. And Kate, if you check out the chat, Kate has posted the link to that YouTube events playlist. And there are a lot of great webinars and recordings there, including that stackability webinar. So do check that out. There's a lot of great information saved there. All right, so Coursera MOOCs. So starting here, this would be sort of the shortest, building block in that stackability sort of column that you saw on the last slide. These are non-credit as far as the university is concerned. The MOOCs are only one component of an Illinois course. And again, I'll kind of explain later, there are 2 components to each 4-credit Illinois course. And this is the asynchronous part. So we often refer to Coursera as the textbook part of our courses. This is where you're going to get that career aligned training that's sort of self-guided. This is where your pre-recordings are, lots of readings, sort of those self-guided quizzes and things like that. Kind of the format that you may be more familiar with if you have done online education before or an online program in the past. You do get a digital certificate with a paid subscription. So if you have not, let's say you're just doing a MOOC through Coursera, you've not applied through the University of Illinois yet, you're just working through Coursera at this point. If you have a paid subscription through Coursera, you will get a digital certificate through them. They do allow you to audit classes for free though. You do not get that certificate if you're auditing a class, however. And again, you would enroll through Coursera. So this is kind of just that stream, if you will. And again, the content is going to include all those things listed there. So you're going to have a little bit of interaction through, peer evaluations, and that's going to be sort of all online through that Coursera platform. Okay, stepping up to kind of that next building block are Gies non-degree courses. So these are transcriptable through the University of Illinois. These add on a high engagement component that is offered through the University of Illinois. So in addition to the Coursera content that we talked about in the previous slide, you now also have a high engagement component, which is going to include your live lectures and group projects and things like that that are more live and in real time. So, and again, this is going to be with the same faculty that teach our residential on-campus courses. This is where you're getting into a little bit of the application process through the university. So you're getting, not only the Coursera component, you're also getting the university component. These start out at $332 per credit hour. If you're in one of the accounting courses or going through your iMSA program, something like that, they're $850 for accounting courses because those are set up a little bit differently. Again, I'll go into a little bit more detail here in just a bit, but if you're applying through the University of Illinois, that Coursera component is included in your courses. So it can be a little bit confusing, but I'll try to get some clarity for you on that here in just a bit. Okay, and then moving on to graduate certificates. Graduate certificates are made up of courses that you will also see in our degree programs. So the difference is these are kind of smaller credentials, so they're only 12 credit hours, and they are transcriptable credits, so you are going to get credit through the University of Illinois. They come out to around $4,000. Again, looking at that 332 number per credit hour. And you will get an actual graduate certificate from the University of Illinois when you complete these programs. Again, there is an application process, excuse me, and it is stackable into a full master's degree, or it can stand on its own as just whatever graduate certificate you've achieved. At the moment, we do have 5 graduate certificates available. So accounting, data and analytics, accounting foundation, CPA pathways, digital marketing, and strategic leadership and management. So again, these are stackable into full degree programs. So if you're at a point where, maybe you're not ready to take on a full master's degree, or you just kind of want to see what the programs are like, what the courses are like, you still want to get a credential out of it, but you're not really sure, not ready to sign on for that full degree program. This is a great way to kind of, try that out, get a certificate out of it, that kind of thing. And we do have quite a variety of topics with more to come for sure. These are relatively new, and we're getting a lot of really great feedback. And as I said, these are the same faculty, the same professors as our full degree programs. These are the same faculty who teach at Gies College of Business on campus in the residential programs as well. And then moving on to our master's degrees, we refer to these as iDegrees. So included in those are the Masters of Business Administration, or an MBA, the Masters of Science in Accountancy, and the Masters of Science in Management, or the iMSA and iMSM. Before we go on, I wanted to talk a little bit about the I, because we do get a ton of questions about this. So the I, as in iDegree or iMBA, it just refers to the method of delivery. So when you see something, iDegree, iMBA, iMSA, iMSM, it's just kind of an acknowledgement that these are delivered online. So these are, our online method. And it is used to refer to all of our master's degrees. So we don't really use this for graduate certificates because those are only online. With some of our master's degree programs, we do have a residential equivalent for some of those. The I is not noted anywhere else. So it's not going to appear on your transcript. It does not appear on your degree or your diploma. Your diploma or the degree you receive is going to be from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So for example, if you complete the iMBA program, your degree is going to be a Master's of Business Administration from the University of Illinois. It's the same degree that you would receive if you were taking a residential program. So I just wanted to clarify that because we do get a lot of questions about that. It's just to kind of help people differentiate between an online program and a residential program. All right. So I want to pause here just a little bit and throw it back to Padma here for a second. Can you tell us a little bit more about, just kind of why you initially chose the, a program at Gies, an online program? I know you're going back to kind of talking about the stacking. You're, moving into your MBA from the MSM. Was that something that you initially had in mind, or like tell us a little bit more about your journey in that regard?
Of course. I always wanted to do ABA, but when I looked at the curriculum and the time commitment, and I wasn't sure online program is for me initially, because I never did any online courses because it was all residence programs. And moreover, I'm from India, and there was a lot of difference between how the teaching is done in India and even in US. So I wanted to see if this program is for me. So when I looked at the courses offered between iMSM and iMBA, with my background in entrepreneurship and leadership, I felt iMSM suits me much better at that point, because it offered all the courses that are required for leadership and management. That's the reason I joined iMSM. But once I finished iMSM, I'm almost on the last mile. I'll be graduating iMSM in next 4 weeks. I realized that I would love to continue my education, and that it was the right time when the university offered stackability option, wherein iMSM course all the credits from the iMSM can be transferred into iMBA once you graduate iMSM. So that's the reason, and as it was always on my list to finish iMBA, I thought I would take this opportunity and continue my education, because iMBA offered much more in-depth analysis, courses on the administrative side, the courses that are required towards administration. So I'll be continuing my education once I graduate iMBA, iMSM, and then starting over iMBA from summer itself.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on being, almost finished with the MSM and basically being halfway through your MBA already.
Yes.
That's another thing I did want to mention. We do have, it's a fairly new option, but it is a fantastic option. The iMSM program does fully stack into the iMBA. So you basically, if you do, continue on with your MBA, you're basically starting halfway through. So all of your credits from the MSM degree stack into the MBA degree. So that's a really fantastic option, and we're getting a lot of people interested in that. And that's again, if it's something where you kind of want to focus on the management, the leadership part, and then maybe later on pursue your MBA. That's a great option. It really just kind of comes down to what works best for you and where you're at in your learning journey. We have some people who are, they want to pursue their MBA right away and they go straight into iMBA. Other people, everybody kind of starts in their own place. They have different career paths and different goals, and that's what we're hoping for with this flexibility and these options, that we're able to kind of meet you where you are. So I want to go through just some basic information about each of these master's degree programs. So the iMBA, excuse me, total cost comes in just under $24,000 US, which, as Padma mentioned earlier, is a really great deal, especially if you're stacking from MSM to MBA. It is 24 to 36 months completion, with 5 start dates in August, October, January, March, and May. It's 72 credit hours total, with 6 specialization options and 3 capstone projects. With all of our graduate degree programs, you do have up to 5 years to finish the program. So again, with the flexibility, if you do need to pause, take time off, if life happens, we sort of, the programs allow for that. So if you do need to take a break, you don't need to feel rushed, you don't need to feel hurried through it. You do have, sort of that flexibility. With the iMSM, this one comes in just under $12,000 US, 12 to 24 months completion. Again, 5 start dates. This one is 36 credit hours. 6 of those being, 6 required courses and 3 electives. And a note about specializations that I forgot to mention with the iMBA. So there are specializations laid out for you in certain areas. So if you are interested in a certain area, there are suggested courses that you can take. You don't have to take those predetermined specializations. You can also sort of make your own. So again, there's flexibility there as well. If you want to kind of mix and match and choose your own electives to kind of make, your own sort of specialization, that's an option as well. And we'll talk about a little bit about the support as far as academic advising here in just a bit. Okay, and then lastly, the MSA or iMSA, Master of Science in Accountancy. This one, the cost depends on which courses you choose. So it can range between just under $21,000 to $28,000 US, roughly 18 to 36 months to complete. This one only has 3 start dates, January, August, and May. The reason for this is the courses are scheduled a little bit differently. So some of the iMSA courses are sort of taught in 2 parts. So the scheduling is a little bit trickier. So just be aware of that if you are interested in iMSA and you're getting your application together, just be aware that you're only looking at 3 start dates instead of 5. 32 credit hours with 5 core required courses, and then 3 elective courses or a data analytics concentration. So again, same thing here. There are sort of concentrations set up for you if you choose those. Otherwise, you do have that option of kind of choosing your own electives to fill that requirement. Okay. Nationwide presence. So we do have over 6,000 online students with 3,000 alumni, and all 50 states represented. We recently filled in the last couple states, so we're really excited to have the full US represented in our programs. And worldwide, we have 99 countries at the moment, so it is truly a global program. And we're going to talk about networking here in just a second. So this is one of the questions that we have is, how do you network in an online program? And so I want you to kind of keep this map in mind that, when it comes to networking, you're working with people from all of these different locations. But I did want to just pause again, go back, talk to Padma. Padma, can you talk a little bit about just the return on investment? We talked about the pricing and the benefits of stacking and things like that. What benefits or what ROI do you feel that you've seen, going through the iMSM in either in your day-to-day career or just in general, what have the results been for you personally going through this degree program?
Yeah. Return on investment, definitely it is I can talk about that a lot, because mainly the price point, as we said, it is very affordable, and the courses that are offered in the program are in line with the current requirement in the industry. For example, we have courses like managerial accounting, financial accounting. We have leadership and teams. All these, whatever the courses, whatever the content that you study in the course, can be applicable directly in your day-to-day work life. Personally, I really like the leadership and teams course, because it had a lot of impact, not only in my professional way, but even in my personal journey as well, because it taught me how I can be a better person myself, when not only in the team setting in the workplace, but even in the personal life. And there are a lot of aspects like this from different courses that you can take in and immediately apply into your day-to-day work life.
Wonderful. Great. And then I'm going to give a little bit of information here about networking, and then we're going to check back in with you. Oh, sorry. So in terms of networking, we do have some specific resources. So from the Gies side, we have iConnects, Immersions, and iConverge. So I'm going to start with iConverge. This is our biggest in-person on-campus event. So this is something that happens every year, usually in the fall. And we invite all of our current students, alumni, to come to campus. And we have usually kind of over a couple days, over a weekend, professional development. We have speakers, we invite the faculty. We, try to set up, tickets to a football game, things like that, different opportunities to just come and explore campus. So that's a really great opportunity to just get people together in person. And it's really interesting to see, students who have gotten to know each other over Zoom for however many months or however many courses now, and, meet in person. And those are really interesting moments to, see people recognize one another and things like that. Immersions are another opportunity to work with companies across the globe on basically case studies. So immersions are offered both in person and virtually. And this is where, you would sign up. These are completely optional. They're kind of intertwined with the degree programs, but they are not required. So it's a great opportunity if you want to participate, but you're not required to participate in order to finish the degree program. But it's just an opportunity to get together with maybe some different students that you have not normally worked with, and you go and work with a real company on real world problems, and just kind of get some real life experience working on something that you've hopefully been working on in your courses as well. And then iConnects are, again, kind of a professional development sort of get together where, there might be a dinner and a speaker, or, hey, we're going to this conference in this city, and the day before we might have a coffee chat. We're going to have this faculty member there to give a little chat on this industry topic or something like that. So those are some opportunities that come up sort of from the college's side. There are also a lot of student-led opportunities. So Gies students and alumni are very enthusiastic. They're very passionate about, what they do, and the fact that they're associated with Gies and with the University of Illinois. So they're very active on this Workplace is a social media platform that's exclusively for Gies students and alumni. And that's a great place for people to hop on and discuss courses that they're in, or job vacancies that are coming up in their companies, or if they're interviewing somewhere, asking for interview tips, or discussing just issues that are coming up. I have this problem that I'm trying to solve. Can I get some feedback from people? Things like that. So that's a great online resource. There are also student-led meetups where people will say, I'm in this area. Does anybody want to grab dinner? Or I have a layover in this city that I'm never in. Is anybody around? I'd love to meet some people. Things like that. And also group work within your degree programs. That's a big part of that high engagement interactive component of the courses. You'll find a lot of, just a lot of discussion happening and interaction happening within your group projects and things like that, just via Zoom and breakout rooms and things like that. So Padma, what of these have you participated in? What have you found most useful? Are there any that you have not participated in and would like to? Tell us a little bit about your experience with networking in the iMSM program.
Yes, I have done all of them except immersion that I'll be doing this September. I'm looking forward for that. I have done iConnects, iMersion, workplace of everything, student-led meetups and group work. So iConnects are usually done during immersion program, after usually immersion program, wherein immersion is, I would like to talk more about the immersion. Immersion programs, as Amy was saying, it is a capstone. If you're doing iMBA, then immersion is if you finish an immersion, it is considered as one of the capstone that is for iMBA. But it is not. It is an optional thing for iMSM students, but it is also optional for iMBA. But if you are an iMBA graduate student, then it will be considered as a capstone for your course. So it will be used as a credit for your course. As an iMSM student, I attended recently led recent one happened in the Houston. So we were able to work on a real-time case that a company in Houston was facing. We were given the scenario, we were given the case study, and we as a group of students, as a team, had to work on it, do our own research and find a solution for the problem that they are actually facing. So this was really a great experience for me personally, because we usually, because of the online program, we don't get to meet our peers in person much often. But this, when we are in the program, we do have team assignments, but doing an immersion, that is a different experience, because you have your teammates around you. You can meet them, discuss with them, directly with them, and then you can present your solution to the company, and that is an awesome experience, because you have the leaders from the actual company trying to hear your solution that you are proposing for the problem that they are currently facing. And apart from that, the iConnect is the one that happens after immersion. I have attended 2 iConnects. One was in the Seattle and one was in the Houston. So it is mainly iConnects is like you tend to connect with the current students or the alumni who are there in your area at a particular place after the immersion. iConverge, I have heard a lot about it. I'm looking forward for it, because it is the greatest get-together that you can have with all the iDegree students. It happens for 3 days events, I guess. Kate can fill in for more details on that. And the next is the student-led opportunities. We have something called Workplace, which is similar to a Facebook, but it is a workplace, a networking place for all the iDegree students. So here we not only discuss about the studies, we can even post our interests and even ask for the career openings, or if we know any career openings that are available, we post them in different groups. We have different groups on Workplace, such as we have forums for iMSM, we have different groups for iMBA, iMSM. iMSA, and we have discussion forums, and even we have separate groups for the course that you're currently enrolled in, because those groups, course groups will help you discuss with your peers, ask the questions that you're actually facing. And there are times wherein most of the students, they take initiative and do study group. So in an online setting, we get together on a Zoom call on a particular date, and then we discuss on the concepts that are discussed in the class, and our peers help us to understand the concepts much better. And student-led meetups, we have, as I said, we have different groups for different areas, and usually once a month or once in 2 months, we organize events for the students to come and meet up. This can happen in a local area. Like recently, we had in Seattle. I'm based out of Seattle. We had organized a meetup here in Seattle, wherein we had a lot of current students and even alumni joining us. And it was a great networking opportunity, because as we are online, it will help us have that connection. But when we met, it was an instant connection. We have seen all the peers online. It never felt as if we are meeting strangers. We have seen everybody on a Zoom calls and all that. And it was an instant connection wherein we felt, yes, we know these people a lot. We know them from a longer time because of all this networking that happens within our Gies community. You never feel isolated. Whatever question you have, you find the Gies family always willing to help, and you'll get all the help that you need.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. It was definitely, like I said, it was interesting to see. It was kind of funny, the number of people who would meet in person and say, oh, you're taller than I thought, or, because you only, people
Yes.
from, shoulders up or whatever. But like you said, you do know them, they're
Yeah.
familiar to you. You've gone through this shared experience of, working through these courses and different
Yeah.
assignments and things like that. So it's just a great way to
It's like I
connect
met
in
a lot of our
person.
teammates. We had worked towards in the same team in the course. So when we met in person, it was a totally different experience. It was not like too odd that you don't know the person, but as we have worked in an online space, it was easy for us to connect and network.
Wonderful. Great. Well, these are just some pictures. This was a recent Seattle immersion. As you can see, they do factor in some fun, some fun stuff as well as the work. Where is your immersion that you're planning to go to?
I already did Houston one. This is in last summer in Seattle. This was in Seattle last summer, and I did the one in January in Houston.
Okay, in Houston. Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. And then this was iConverge. This past year, we had about 500 students and alumni, 38 from 38 states, 17 countries. That included 22 faculty members. So that was a really great opportunity. Were you able to come to iConverge this past year?
I'm planning to attend this year.
Wonderful. Okay, it's a great opportunity, and like I said, it's a very large event. And it's a good way to, and you can kind of see from this group picture here, you get a lot of people out in their, in their blue and orange, and it's just a very, collaborative feeling, kind of event. So it's a really good time. And these are just some examples of workplace, posts and, things from LinkedIn that people have, examples of people. This is someone who attended commencement in person, people, getting different certificates and going through degree programs, while managing work and family and other, all the things that happen in life. And this last one was a case of someone having a layover and then meeting and getting a tour from a classmate that he met in the iMBA program. So that was one of my favorite stories, because it kind of makes the world much smaller in a lot of ways. So it's it's a lot of fun. And then student meetups, of course, just students getting together to do different things. Illini tickets, going to ball games and things together. They just have a lot of fun, meeting up in person and doing those sorts of things. Okay, so I mentioned earlier as far as support with academic advising and things like that, we do have a student and academic success team, and this is going to be your advising team. So once you've applied, you've enrolled in a program, and now you're kind of at the point where you're trying to plan your degree timeline, making sure that you're ticking all the boxes, that you're meeting all those requirements. This is sort of where this team comes in. So they offer all of these benefits to you. So just clarifying requirements and policies, helping with degree planning, express advising. So if you have a quick question or if something comes up that you need, just a quick chat. They also offer open office hours. So if you want to go, and I've heard that some people, attend these just to kind of hear what other questions people have, because a lot of times, there will be something that you haven't thought of, and it's nice to just sort of listen in sometimes. They also offer one-on-one appointments and email support. So this team is a great resource to just, help keep you on track, make you feel a little bit more just supported, so that you're not feeling like you're kind of out there by yourself, that you're worried about missing anything. So Padma, is this something, have you worked with the academic advising team at all? Is this something that you've taken advantage of? And if so, kind of what was your experience? Did you find it helpful?
Yes, it is definitely helpful, mainly because when you're in online program, you feel like you're all isolated and you have to figure it out all by yourself, but that's not the case. We have a great support on 3 different modes. You can call up the supporting team over phone, and even you can have over email. We have a very wonderful iSupport team that you can just email, and then you get your responses quickly. And you have the officers that you can connect with, academic and student advisors, who they can help you prepare your degree plan or give you guidance on the things that you are unaware of. But those things you can get it cleared. You can always, I personally just pick up a phone and then call them if I have any immediate requirement that need to be, like I want to know something, I don't know this. So initially when I joined the program, I had a lot of questions and I couldn't wait till the time I can email or I have the Zoom call. But our open office hours, you always have it. But I always used to pick up the phone and then have my doubts cleared immediately. I have attended the office hours. It's a wonderful thing because they are really willing to help with whatever questions you have. And you always can book one-to-one appointments for any kind of advising related to academics. Sometimes you're not sure whether which specialization you want to take in. So there are a lot of experts who can help you guide in giving you a gist of what each specialization looks like, and even can help you make your study plan. Like if you have a requirement of finishing your course within an year or 1.5 or 2 years, then they can definitely help you prepare the study plan based on the requirement. So I would say that you should always take this opportunity to connect with those people when you're joining or before you're joining the program, so that you have a clear idea about what you can expect and how you can plan your things better way.
Definitely. Yeah, like I said, these team members are great resources, and they are there to support you. That's their role. So definitely, if you do, find yourself in a degree program, once you're kind of settled in, you've got a handle on, the platforms that are used, and you've got your emails set up and all that kind of stuff. Definitely check in with them, and just if nothing else, just to get that relationship going, because they're great people to kind of have on hand, great people to know when you do have questions that that inevitably will arise at some point.
Yeah, I would just like to add here, if
Sure.
If none of these, if you don't want to do any of these, you can always go onto the LinkedIn and find current students who are in the program, who are already graduates. Just ping them a message, just drop a message on the LinkedIn or try to connect with them. You can always do that because they're always willing to help you. That
Absolutely.
is one more platform where you can look to connect with the current or already graduated students.
Yep, definitely. Like I said, Gies students and alumni are very enthusiastic. They're very willing to help. We also have, if you go to our website, there for each degree program, there's a section for student ambassadors. And you can go and request a direct connection with them. And I believe there are, sort of student stories listed there. If there's somebody who has, a similar background to you or something, something that you sort of connect with, you can request to be connected with a specific person. But yes, absolutely, you can always, reach out, and that's a great way to get, more support, more information as well. Yes, and Kate just posted that link in the chat to our ambassador pages. So do check that out also. So I do want to make sure to leave some time to go through any questions that have come up. So I just want to go through real quick our application requirements. Keep in mind, these are for the full master's degree programs. Our graduate certificates and non-degree courses may not include all of these items. So these are for the full degree programs if you fill out an application for those. So your resume is required. In terms of resume, we don't need a full CV. So we don't need, the 10-page, everything you've ever done kind of CV layout. Keep it, to 1 or 2 pages if you can. Relevant information, things like that would be perfect. Your academic history, make sure you include your academic history on your resume. And also you will need to include all transcripts. If you have a degree from an international institution, so a non-US college or university, you will need to include mark sheets as well. At this point in the process, so for your application, they do not need to be official transcripts. So if you have a scan or a photo or a digital file that you can send over, those will work. If you're accepted into the program, you will need to send official transcripts and or mark sheets at a later time. But just for your application, unofficial is fine. There's also a personal statement. So any statements or essays that you'll need to write will that you'll have prompts in the application portal itself. So there is a prompt in there for a personal statement. I believe that's roughly 500 words for that personal statement. There are spaces for optional essays as well. So an optional essay is optional, so it's not required, but this is an opportunity for you to support your application. So if you have a special circumstance, we would encourage you to submit an optional essay to sort of explain a little bit more about you or about a special circumstance that might need a little bit more information for someone who is looking at your application, trying to get to know you. So the example that I always use is, let's say you don't have an undergraduate degree, but you've got 20 years of work experience and you feel like you're still a solid candidate for whatever degree program you're applying for, and you'd like to kind of explain that and explain, why your work experience you feel like is a good substitution for a bachelor's degree. This is the perfect opportunity to submit an optional essay explaining that situation. Or if you have a lower than required undergraduate GPA and you had some extenuating circumstance that kind of led to that lower GPA, this is the perfect opportunity for an optional essay. Kind of explain, what happened, how your work ethic has changed, if you've taken courses since then, gotten a 4.0, all of those things could be addressed in an optional essay. Basically think of it, like I said, as a way to support your application and kind of give the admission team just more information, because if it's something that we can't get by looking at your resume, we have no other way to know it unless you kind of give us that information, that data. For international applicants, there is an English proficiency requirement. So TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo scores are required, or you can submit an English proficiency test waiver essay. There are some exceptions to that. So Kate, if you do have that handy, if you could post a link to that information in the chat, I'd appreciate it. If you are an international applicant, make sure and check out that part of the website, because there are a few exceptions. But in general, English proficiency, some sort of proof of English proficiency is required. 2 professional letters of recommendation. Normally, we recommend that you ask a supervisor of some kind, so someone who can vouch for your work ethic, your performance. If you're someone who is newer to the workforce, maybe a professor or somebody who has been in a supervisory type role. Again, another example of a potential optional essay. If you're in a situation where you don't really have a supervisor, so you own your own business and you've never really had a supervisor, that's a good spot for an optional essay. Maybe your letters of recommendation are from clients in that case instead of a supervisor, explaining why that is, why you're in this kind of unique situation, would be a good example of that. GRE and GMAT are optional, so those scores are not required to apply. That being said, if you have taken the GRE or GMAT and you would like to include those scores, please feel free to do that. All of our applications are evaluated holistically, which means that we look at your application as a whole. And the GRE and GMAT scores are just one more data point that we would evaluate with the rest of your application. Again, they are optional, they are not required, but you are welcome to include them. If you've taken the test and you're really proud of those scores, then by all means, please include those in your application. You're more than welcome. Scholarship essays, scholarship essays are required when they are available throughout the year. So we do have deadlines for scholarships. Right now, we are accepting applications for fall 2023, and the scholarship essays are still being accepted. And we will, we do our best to kind of post those deadlines and when scholarship consideration is closing and things like that. Again, the scholarship prompts are in the application portal itself. There are 2 scholarships available. One is the Coursera scholarship, which covers 70% of tuition. And that one is available to all applicants, so domestic and international. There's also a Forte scholarship, which is available to iMBA applicants only. And then keep in mind, there are 2 prerequisite courses for iMSA if you're applying there. You can fulfill those prerequisites either through undergraduate work, if you've taken those courses in your bachelor's degree, or there are equivalent Coursera courses that you can take to meet those requirements. So don't panic if you're applying for iMSA and you've not taken those courses. There are ways that you can do it online, kind of in line with your application. All right, so I want to launch just one more poll here, just out of curiosity. Kind of what is your, excuse me, if you're thinking about applying, what has been your biggest hurdle in the application process? So, what aspect or what of these items has been difficult for you or have caused you, some hesitancy in applying? Transcripts, references, other, scholarship essay. Okay. I'm curious what the other is. So if you're one of those others, maybe throw in the Q&A or throw in the chat what your other is. Personal statement, references, interview. As far as the essays, like I said, the prompts are in the application portal, and they're relatively short essays. But my advice there would just be, take your time, and keep in mind that this is your chance to introduce yourself to people who may or may not be able to talk to you directly. So if you are invited to an interview, one person will interview you. So somebody from the recruitment and admissions team. So myself, Kate, one of our coworkers, but we're not all going to be able to interview you. So you're talking to kind of the rest of us. Introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. So kind of just, make it authentic, and just tell us why you're interested in the program, and why you're wanting to pursue this degree, and hopefully that will point you in the right direction. Padma, I want to talk a little bit about your interview. So we've got some people saying that, the interview made them a little nervous. What was your, application and interview experience like? What was your impression of the interview, specifically applying for iMSM?
Yeah, even as others, even I was pretty nervous when I was giving my interview. But the interviewer made me quite at ease, and the questions were more on the behavioral aspect and what I can take out from this course and why I am interested in this course. It was mainly about knowing they wanted to know myself, if I'm the right fit to take the course, and why. Mainly because how it is going to be beneficial for me, and what are my career goals. It was mainly on those aspects. So don't panic. It will be all about you, all about your work experience, and it will be quite easy.
Great.
It's mainly if they want to get to know you, what are your
Exactly.
ideas and your career goals and all that.
Yeah, that's a really good summary. Our interviews are 20-minute interviews. They're not meant to be long and scary. And we really do try to set you up for success. We're not trying to scare you. We're trying to get to know you and figure out what's the best fit, what's the best fit for you, what's the best fit for our programs. So try not to, let that scare you too much. Oh, nice. In the chat, we've got one of the other examples, not giving into imposter syndrome. That's a really good point. So if you're nervous about, being in an online program where there's a lot of discussion, and, I don't know if I'm going to have as much experience as the other students and things like that, that's a really valid feeling. I've talked to a lot of people who feel that way, but keep in mind that we have people coming in from all different directions. We've got people coming in from all different career fields, all different places in their careers, and they're kind of going through our degree programs and coming out and going in all different directions. And it's really kind of a give and take. Students help each other out in a lot of different ways, and there's going to be topics that you're familiar with that somebody else isn't, and vice versa. And that's the whole reason that you're applying for a degree program, right? It's because you're there to learn. And I mean, everybody's there to learn something new. And if you already knew everything, then what's the point of applying? So yeah, don't, try not to let that deter you. Try to kind of keep that in mind, that everybody is very, keen to learn, and you're all kind of in the same situation. And I guess, Padma, can you speak to that a little bit? Like, what is the environment like as far as being in classes with people at, different experience levels and different, sort of that, is there a feeling of needing to like keep up with everybody, or how has that been for you?
Yeah. Imposter syndrome is real. So don't worry, even I have gone through that, and I usually go through that most of the times. But the key thing is how you can overcome it. So if you want to overcome your own insecurities and all that, better you apply, because once you are through in the program, you will have a lot of resources, lot of help from the peers who can help you overcome it. You never know, you will be the best part. You'll see your best version of yourself once you're in the program, because you're working on bettering yourself. It is like the best investment that you can do. It took me a while, almost one course for me to understand, because initially I was also overwhelmed with a lot of platforms like Coursera, Canvas app, and even where to find the assignments, what and how should I navigate all those things. But as I said, workplace is the best place wherein whatever questions that I had, I started interacting with my peers. The people whom I met in the class, I started connecting with them one to one, try to chat with them, make them understand if they have some time for me to explain me things in a better way, so that I can go through this initial process quite easily. So don't worry, if you are feeling that way, you should definitely do this, so that you will come out as your best version by the end of the program.
Wonderful. Thank you, Padma. I know we're right at the end of our time here, but I want to make sure that we have our deadlines straight here. So we do have the deadline for graduate certificates coming up on April 19th to start in summer. I believe they all start in May. And then for degree programs and graduate certificates, the fall 2023 priority 1 deadline is coming up on May 4th. So there are some benefits to applying early. So the application fee is waived. I believe that's $70 for domestic applicants and $90 for international applicants. So that's a bit of savings right there. You do get early access to networking platforms, so like Workplace that we talked about, early access to Coursera materials, priority registration for courses, and then you also do have scholarship consideration. So if you choose to apply for a scholarship, those applications are still open for fall. Just make sure that you apply by that May 4th deadline. And just a note about our deadlines, all of our deadlines are always 11:59 p.m. Central, US Central Time. So anytime you see a deadline, that's going to be May 4th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. All right, and then if you do have additional questions, Kate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got all of our questions answered in the Q&A and in the chat. But if you do have additional questions, that is our email. It's just giesonline@illinois.edu, or you can scan that QR code to get in touch with us as well. Feel free to reach out. Our team would be happy to chat with you. We have admissions counselors on our team that you can set up a one-on-one chat with if you'd like to, just kind of talk a little bit more about whichever program you're interested in. Yeah, Kate, is there anything that we've missed, or anything that we'd like to talk more about?
I think you actually hit on everything. This was a great session, and there was lots of great questions in the Q&A, but there's no open questions right now. I think we did a pretty good job of getting to all of the questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kate, so much for being on top of the questions. I didn't even notice anything come through. And Padma, thank you so much for being here and sharing your experience. You've had a lot of great advice and just kind of firsthand account of your time in Gies programs. I know that means a lot to people to hear, sort of what it's really been like for someone. And thank you for everyone who has attended. There will be a recording available on that YouTube playlist in a few days. But yeah, get in touch with us if you do have additional questions, and hopefully we will see you in a degree program soon. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good day.